I don't think there's a better place to ride a motorcycle. I mean, what an awesome day. I wasn't planning to take a ride today, but when I got up and looked outside, something just clicked. There was no time to call a buddy, coordinate a plan, and make adjustments. And even if there was, I'd rather keep this one all to myself. Growing up, there were a few things that sparked my imagination more than motorcycling. I mean, the fact that you could have a powered, two-wheeled cycle that could go anywhere and do anything seemed like pure magic. To me, motorcycles were the epitome of badass. After all, I grew up in the age of Evel Knievel. I first started riding motorcycles around 1976. Mostly off-road, of course, as I would have only been around 12 at that time, and riding on public streets would not have been legal. Just kidding. I rode around the neighborhood on the streets anytime I could get away with it. Did I mention that Evel Knievel was one of my childhood heroes? Once I got my motorcycle license, all bets were off. The feeling of freedom and sense of adventure that riding anywhere I chose gave me was like capturing lightning in a bottle. Driving a car was okay, but it didn't give me that same sense of being totally alive and free. The other day, I started to think back about all the great and some not so great times I've had on motorcycles since I started riding. It hit me that early on I rode with other people most of the time, but as of late, not so much. For the last 20 years or so, I found myself riding alone more and more. Heard an advertising executive give a speech about age groups and their tendencies, and it really stuck with me. He was remarking about an ad campaign aimed at beer sales. He said, "All of our effort is focused on 18 to 38-year-olds because by the time someone's 40, they know what they want. They've already found it." Well, no kidding. As I've crossed into my 60s, I know now how fleeting time really is. My recent brush with illness has, if anything, given me a renewed desire to live life to the fullest while I still can. In a way, I feel like I'm starting a new life, but this time, it's like I've been here before. I know precisely what I want to do, but I don't have the endless days of my youth tagging along. I gotta do it my way this time. From time to time, I feel like cutting free of all the distractions of normal life, and the only vehicle that can do that is a motorcycle. Well, maybe a time machine. If anyone has one, just let me know. In some ways, I think I am always trying to recapture that sense of amazement and awe that I had when I first started riding. To be completely driven by the moment and able to make deviations of any kind at any time requires absolute autonomy. No time schedule, no checkpoints, no waiting, no get there-itis. Just go and be free. To me, motorcycles are to be ridden. I didn't buy a motorcycle to ride across town to my favorite bar or coffee shop so I could sit and stare at it and talk shit with my buddies about life. Yeah, we do that in our driveways and make the neighbors stare at us as they drive by. I have a motorcycle as an escape mechanism. It's a mental health parachute and a life's problems ejection seat all rolled into one. But the magic only seems to happen when I'm on it and going somewhere. For me, riding alone is like wearing your favorite pair of jeans that are worn in and fit just right. Riding in a group of strangers is about as predictable as ordering a pair of pants off of Temu. What was that famous quote from Forrest Gump? Well, yeah, group rides are like that too. You never know what you're going to get. Besides, I'm not a big chocolate eater anyways. It just slows you down. Maybe I've become set in my ways, or maybe I'm a control freak. Or, just maybe, it is my search to turn off the noise, disconnect from life's BS, and reflect on what really matters that causes me to want to ride alone. Then again, maybe this is just part of getting old. You tell me. I'm new here. In the past, I have enjoyed rides with others, and I'm sure there will be times in the future when I will again. I enjoy the company of close friends and family in most settings, but somehow on a motorcycle, I've become very picky about with whom or where, when, and how I ride. Though my wife would claim I'm picky about most things. I suppose another reason I ride alone more often now is because maybe I'm not your typical 60-year-old rider. I'm neither a cross-country 3-week road tripper or a go sit at Daytona Bike Week and watch people kind of guy. And ripping around at breakneck speeds with the sport bike guys is really little appeal to me now. Let's face it, I'm not riding an age-appropriate motorcycle either. I'm almost old enough to be on a V-twin cruiser, but supposedly I'm too old to be on a so-called sport bike. But seriously, I don't fit into any typical motorcycle crowd, and yeah, I'm okay with that. It's funny, but 14 months out of cancer treatment, and I feel my life and strength coming back a little more each day. The more I ride, the better I feel. It's almost as if riding has become part of my recovery therapy. Either that or I'm having some kind of weird Benjamin Button experience and my aging process is reversed course. Either way, I think it's best if I just continue to ride as long as I can. Well, that's the plan anyway. Hey, thanks guys, I appreciate you watching. If you have any comments or suggestions, as always, just leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.